Hi everyone, Turtle here with a build guide on an occult tank. This build excels at helping the group deal more damage with its occult status debuffs, as well as standing still to draw aggro and face tanking anything it comes across. So let's go ahead and get into the build. First, let's focus on our passive tree and the nodes that we need to take early game and late game in order to help us do damage and face tank everything we come across. This is a status ailment build, so we are going to focus on the scholar tree first, get our status ailment chance up. From there, we're going to move down to the Kabbalist tree and get the grievous afflictions so that we can apply one additional ailment per attack or spell cast, as well as the power of first men, which multiplies our stacks of ailment per attack. On top of that, we are going to get immortal offering, which allows us to do more damage per ailment stack on the target when we kill it. From there, we're going to move down to the Time Weaver tree. Most important defensive node for this build is Dire Juncture. What this node helps us do is stagger the damage we take, preventing us to get one-shotted. What this node does is allow us to take 40% of the initial 100% damage first, and later staggers the 60%, so that way we don't take the full 100% at one time. This allows us to have quick reactions to drink potions, or if we have life leech, that health will recover by the time the other 60% hits. Next, the two offensive nodes in the Time Weaver tree are Which Time Cannot Heal, which helps us do more damage by doubling our damage every 1.5 seconds, as well as increase attack and spellcasting speed when the target has ailments. Next, we're going to focus on Occult Afflictions on the Abyssal Shaper tree. This helps us do even more damage because of the curse stacks that we're going to be applying to our target. Notice how this boosts our complete occult damage, not just curse damage. So every curse stack increases occult damage, whether it be sacred, aether, or shadow. From that point on, we're going to go ahead and focus on defensive abilities, because that's all you really need for offense. Heading back here on the way to our Abyssal Shaper side, we have Virtuous Stance from Armsmaester. This is to help us block while we use a catalyst and increases our block chance. Next is the Warmonger, which gives us 2% global life leech. And heading all the way over to this main defensive tree here is Belligerent Banner, Disallowing Vessel, and Salvatory Anchor. These three work very well because we're focusing on block chance as well as doing damage when we stand still. On top of that, we want to raise our physical defensive distances by taking Salvatory Anchor. This in turn allows us to do more damage because since we're not focusing on any ferocity, we won't have any crit chance. So taking this node knocks our crit chance down, but increases our damage per physical resistance, which will be boosted by wearing heavy armor on the chest plate and a heavy headpiece. Next, let's focus on the skills that this build uses. There are 4 main skills that help this build excel. The first of the 4 are Aether Jump, Bulwark of Dawn, Anomaly, and Infinity Blades. This build is very slow and excels at standing still to do damage, so having Aether Jump with really high cooldown increases our mobility. As you can see here, I dropped the cooldown all the way down to 1.3 seconds. I could initially take this, which removes cooldown completely, but this actually causes me to overcast and use up a lot of my willpower, so I prefer to just reduce it by 1 second, as well as increasing the rate. Good modifiers to take for this skill are Barrier to the Void, which deal Aether damage, so when you teleport into a group, you can do some damage and apply status ailments, as well as enemies near the beginning and the end of a teleport are inflicted with stasis, so that's a free ailment right there. And the rest are pretty much how you feel want to run Aether Jump. Next is Anomaly. The main modifiers you need are Event Horizon, which enemies are damaged for every time that they're pulled. Echoes of Infinity, which pulls every single second, so this causes it to be a damage over time when synergized with Event Horizon. Next, you can pretty much select what you want in terms of how you run the skill. I prefer to have the skill last longer, as well as increasing the AoE and range, and having the ability to cast 2 vortexes at one time. This skill left over is to just cause additional ailment chances. Next will be Bulwark of Dawn. The main thing you want is for it to cause damage, because it does turn into a damage over time, which in turns with a node that we took on our passive tree, which gives us global life leech, works very well with all damage over time abilities. I also took the cooldown so that I have the ability to have the skill last longer than the cooldown, so I can keep recasting it over and over. Another great modifier is Divine Omnipresence, which allows the skill to follow you wherever you go, so you're just not casting it in one spot. Moving on to Infinity Blades. The modifiers I take are increased damage of the next skill, grants increased shadow and aether damage bonus when using, damage for each ailment stack. This is great because we're going to be stacking multiple ailments onto the target, as well as applying a debuff till they take additional spell damage. Now for the last 2 skills, you can use whatever you want. If you want to be a willpower focused build, you can throw in another spell here. I prefer Bleeding Edge because it allows me to push my willpower back once I start gaining rage from spamming all my spells, as well as Juggernaut when running in a group, because I can cast a shield for pickups, as well as draw aggro with the modifier here, Beast of the Battlefield. With my ability to face tank everything, drawing aggro allows everybody else to focus heavy on their ailments and ferocity, while I take all the damage. Moving on to the attributes, I split everything between wisdom and toughness. The reason I don't take ferocity is because of the node that already hits my crit chance, so there's no point in taking ferocity there, as well as agility not being important because all my damages are damages over time from Bulwark and Anomaly, so increasing the speed does not increase the damage sticks, so those are set. Focusing on wisdom allows me to stack more curses and weaknesses on my targets.